Associated Press Twitter account hacked. Japanese police asked ISPs to start blocking Tor. The Pirate Bay founder indicted on hacking charges and more, this time on ThreatWire.
Hello, welcome to ThreatWire. I'm Darren Kitchen.
And I'm Shannon Morse.
And this is your summary of what's threatening our security, privacy, and internet freedom.
And there's plenty of it this week, so let's get right into it with Twitter. There have been some talk about Twitter introducing two-step authentication into their service for several months, starting with several hacked Twitter accounts in early 2013. Yay! All the way to a job posting mentioning two-step authentication in February. Wired wrote on Tuesday that Twitter has a working two-step security solution undergoing internal testing before incrementally rolling it out to users, something it hopes to begin doing shortly. Now, this would mean that users would need to enter both something they know, like their password, and something that they have, a randomly generated PIN code that is sent to their smartphone or tablet or something like that. Two-factor authentication is a surefire way to add security to accounts, and this is necessary for Twitter's high-profile status. Now, this information came on the heels of another Twitter hack, this time on Associated Press's account, likely compromised during a phishing attack where a hacker could, for example, take an email, send it out with a fake Twitter service, and ask the AP to log in with their credentials, and the AP would do so. The AP tweeted about an explosion and an injured President Obama. Now, obviously, this information was false, but it also created a huge ripple effect, briefly sending the Dow Jones Industrial Average down a few points, and then the Syrian electronic army claimed responsibility, but at this time of recording, that is yet to be confirmed. Now, several high-profile accounts have been compromised this year, many of which were a cause of phishing attacks, weak passwords. They could be caused by viruses, malware on their computers, or even just a user being on an open, unsecured network. Now, two-factor doesn't absolutely fix the problem, but it is one solution that could definitely help for Twitter.
And seriously, this is one of those things where, as Twitter evolves, we've seen things like Twitter adopt OAuth. It used to be that you sign into third-party services using your Twitter username and password.
Yeah,
Bad
I didn't
thing.
like
We made
that.
a mockery of that with twitterfisher.com back in the day. So this is something that they really need to get on and do.
I totally agree.
So get this, the Mainichi. Okay, it's a major newspaper in Japan, and they're reporting that the Japanese National Police Agency, they're kind of like the FBI, is going to request ISPs, internet service providers, those guys, to block communications if customers are found to have abused Tor. Now, Tor, short for the Onion Router, is a network that enables anonymous internet usage through techniques known as Onion routing. And while investigating measures to combat abuses of the Tor network, an expert panel to the NPA recommended in a report that online communications should be at the discretion of site administrators, and that this would be an effective way of preventing such online crimes. As the EFF has pointed out in their FAQ on Tor, no persons have been sued or prosecuted for running Tor, or at least that's in here in the United States. The implication in this case seems to be that as far as the Japanese NPA is concerned, anyone using Tor for any anonymity must obviously be up to no good. Now, this recommendation comes soon after an embarrassing case to the NPA in which a hacker going by the handle Demon Killer posted several bomb threats against schools and kindergartens on public message boards. And after many arrests, a 3 million yen bounty, and a very strange story involving a cat with a collar of USB drive goodness full of evidence. It's a bizarre tale. I leave in the show notes for you guys to read. Seized computers were found to have routinely accessed Tor for anonymization. Now, Tor is an invaluable tool for anyone wishing to conduct anonymous online communications, and especially for those facing repressive regimes. Now, since nearly any internet traffic can pass through Tor, kitten photos or otherwise. Now, last year, in an ongoing censorship arms race, Skype Morph, I bring this up because it's a tool to camouflage Tor traffic to make it look like Skype video calls. That was released. So as this technology just barrels ahead, it seems that the authorities in Japan are desperate to perhaps throw out the baby with the bathwater. Yeah.
I want to give my kitties a USB necklace. That would be...
I'm glad that that's what you got from this story.
That's it. No.
IP over kittens. The new internet.
Now, a much more serious case. The Pirate Bay co-founder, and help me with this one since you speak like Swedish or whatever, Gottfried Svartholm.
Svartholm.
He was indicted on hacking charges having to do with breaching the Nordea Bank, several Swedish companies, and the government's federal taxing agency, none of which actually having to do with the Pirate Bay. Now, if you don't know, Pirate Bay is a long-standing torrent-based file-sharing website that is notoriously known for being huge rebels. Thousands of copyrighted works can be found throughout their website, and the 4 men involved were convicted of running the service. Now, according to prosecutor Henrik Olin, a large amount of data from companies and agencies was taken during the hack, including a large amount of personal data, such as personal identity numbers of people with protected identities. But is Svartholm just a scapegoat? According to the indictment, a computer and chat transcripts of Svartholm and the other suspects were seized. The hacks are believed to have happened and started in 2010 and continued until April of 2012. And the trial will be held in May, hopefully.
Now, last week we asked you, if CISPA were to pass in its current form, would you be hesitant to provide personal information to social websites? And our comment of the week comes from Alec G. He writes, if CISPA passed, no smart person would not hesitate or neglect to put personal information on the internet. And if this bill passes, there will be countless petitions and letters opposing the bill, and it would probably cause it to be repealed. After all, it is a direct violation of the rights of the privacy of U.S. citizens. Summarizing, CISPA really does not pose a great long-term threat to privacy, just like prohibition in the 1920s to alcohol.
I don't know if I completely agree with it not posing a long-term threat, because this is just the start.
Yeah, I kind of wish that Google and everybody else were behind opposing CISPA like they were with SOPA and PIPA and all of the others.
However, I do agree. I'm
comes
one
down
of those
to the
smart
money.
people, and I would not be putting my information
We'll just
out
go
there.
underground. That's all.
Yeah, we'll just, build a house in the middle of nowhere. Now, this week we would like to know, given the recent high-profile AP Twitter hacks, especially since mainstream media in the U.S. relies so heavily on social media, I know I definitely do, what do you believe Twitter's responsibility is in protecting its users? Let us know in the comments.
Now remember, you can find all the ways to subscribe over at threatwire.org. You can get involved in our Google Plus community there, and that's where the conversation goes all week.
And with that, I'm Shannon Morse.
I'm Darren Kitchen.
And we'll see you on the internet.